and Verde rivers through SRP, Colorado River via CAP, reclaimed water, and a groundwater buffer. On a chart that looks sturdy. On the ground, two anchors wobble. CAP is junior in the lower basin triage, already absorbing cuts that first hit agriculture and could press urban margins in deeper shortages. The Salt and Verde are snowpack dependent with rising variability and fire scars that load sediment into reservoirs. Phoenix's edge is institutional, aggressive conservation, drought-ready rate structures, and a reuse backbone feeding parks, industry, and cooling. Its weak flank is geography, sprawling fringe growth far from cores, hotter nights, and a heavy dependence on long-haul CAP energy. Verdict: survivable with a slimmer footprint and painful peripheral slowdowns. Tucson reads similar, but leans even harder into prudence. It banked CAP water underground for years, built culture around desert landscaping, and keeps per capita use low. It's downstream of fewer fire-prone headwaters than Phoenix and has less salt Verde exposure, but shares CAP's legal vulnerability. Tucson's heat is brutal but slightly softer at night than Phoenix's urban core. The city's triage lever is stored groundwater and the discipline to keep it stored until truly needed. Verdict: smaller growth runway than boosters promise, but stronger odds of steady service if it resists sprawl. Las Vegas is a paradox, legally constrained, physically precarious, operationally elite. 90% of supply rides the Colorado through Lake Mead, but the Southern Nevada Water Authority built the low lake-level pumping station and a deep intake that can sip near dead pool. Indoor use returns to the lake and earns credits. Turf bans bite. Enforcement is real. The legal picture is mixed. Nevada's slice is small, but Las Vegas' efficiency stretches it far. Heat exposure is intense, but density core services help. The wild card is structural. If Mead slips into crisis, even the best pumps run on a shrinking pie. Verdict: resilient relative to peers because of execution, still capped by a single source. Salt Lake's fate pivots on a lake most residents never counted in their water bill. The Great Salt Lake buffers climate, captures dust, and signals watershed health. As tributary diversions and drought drove it to record lows, dust storms carried arsenic and fine salts into neighborhoods. Water portfolios along the Wasatch Front mix canyon streams, reservoirs, and groundwater, with reuse growing. Legal seniority is patchy across dozens of districts. Heat exposure is rising, but elevation offers pockets of relief. The triage trigger here is ecological collapse. Agencies must reserve more tributary flow to stabilize lake levels, which forces indoor conservation and outdoor cuts faster than growth models assumed. Verdict: survivable with concerted lake-first policy. Without it, public health costs rewrite priorities. Along Colorado's Front Range, triage is a negotiation across a mountain. Cities import through straws poked under the Continental Divide, then compete with agriculture on the plains and with endangered species flows that require certain river levels. Portfolio diversity helps. Colorado Big Thompson shares, senior local rights, reuse, but wildfire in headwaters threatens storage, and legal seniority is a mosaic. Heat exposure is widening east of the foothills, and population pressure is relentless. The region can buy water on markets and build reuse, but each imported acre-foot gets pricier and riskier. Verdict: selective survivability in cores with infill and reuse. Exurban growth faces hard caps and intermittent drought-driven retreats. Boise's Treasure Valley looks flush until you tighten the lens. Snow-fed reservoirs above town, irrigation districts with senior rights, and historically leaky flood irrigation that recharged shallow aquifers once buffered growth. Modern efficiency and suburban conversion reduce that incidental recharge. Wildfire risk in headwaters grows, and late summer flows already pinch. Boise has more local control than a CAP city, but less redundancy than a megametro. Verdict: strong if growth clusters near existing mains with strict outdoor budgets. Vulnerable if sprawl and fire seasons expand in tandem. Now rank by legal seniority in the Colorado Basin. California's big agricultural districts hold priority muscle that shields urban users in moderate shortages. Metropolitan Water District blends Colorado, State Water Project imports, and local supplies with extensive storage. But California's shield isn't infinite. Deeper tier cuts, new evaporation accounting, and ecological mandates tighten margins. Phoenix and Tucson are junior via CAP. Las Vegas is small but nimble. Front-range cities ride upper basin obligations that fix deliveries downstream regardless of snow. On a pure priority ladder, California's coastal cities look safest, but they face their own delta smelt constraints, droughts, and heat-driven demand. Source diversity narrows winners. Cities with at least 3 distinct buckets, local rivers, imported surface, and a mature reuse program, outrun single-source peers. Add managed aquifer storage in permeable alluvium, and you buy drought elasticity. Las Vegas lacks diversity, but compensates with precision. Phoenix has diversity and scale. Salt Lake needs the lake. Boise has local rivers and irrigation networks to retool. Front-range metros rely on imports plus fragmented local rights. Heat exposure tilts the table. Nighttime minima rising fastest in Phoenix and Las Vegas inflate summer baselines. Salt Lake and Boise heat up, but elevation and diurnal swings soften edges for now. Front-range heat climbs with urban expansion on the plains. Cities that cool their asphalt, shade, cool roofs, reflective pavements, reduce cumulative demand and leaks, turning climate adaptation into water policy, those that don't pay twice. Storage buys time but not certainty. Surface storage in a drying regime leaks to sky. Underground banks work where geology cooperates and surplus exists. Phoenix and Tucson's groundwater banking shines. Front-range aquifer storage is promising but uneven. Las Vegas bank is Mead itself, and that bank is shrinking. Salt Lake's storage is ecosystem function in the lakebed, which demands inflows more than walls. Industrial footprints shift ranks at the margins. A new fab can tip a suburban district's balance. Data center clusters add steady loads and grid stress that echo into pump schedules. Regions that require industrial reuse and full accounting stay ahead. Regions that chase ribbon cuttings first scramble later. So who shrinks, who survives? Nobody escapes the math. Survival means managed constraint. Phoenix can survive with slower fringe build-out, steeper outdoor pricing, and deeper reuse, while taking agriculture cuts that ripple through food sheds and politics. Tucson survives by staying Tucson, banked water, desert form, cautious growth. Las Vegas survives by staying relentless on indoor efficiency and outdoor bans, riding its deep intake and hoping basin deals hold. Salt Lake survives only if the Great Salt Lake is treated as infrastructure, not scenery, forcing tributary protection and aggressive conservation. The Front Range survives in cause, but exurban nodes will stall or retreat as imports tighten and headwaters burn. Boise survives if it densifies and reinvents recharge. If not, late summer scarcity will set hard limits. Triage isn't doom, it's prioritization. Cores with hospitals, jobs, and transit keep pressure and shade. Fringe subdivisions on thin wells don't. Senior rights holders keep water unless intake strand or ecology collapses, while junior users pay first and hardest. Cities that turn outdoor water into a luxury through price and code preserve indoor lifelines, those that won't learn in court or at the ballot box. The map won't announce winners. It will show them quietly, neighborhoods where grass fades to shade trees and bills level off, cul-de-sacs where tanker trucks visit, reservoirs that stabilize at new normals, a lake ring that stops climbing because people upstream left more water in the channel. Survival looks smaller, tighter, and hotter, but still livable. Shrinkage looks like denial turned into drift. Human stories when water becomes a second rent. Start with a bill on a fridge. In West Phoenix, Elena's water statement used to hover around $40 most months. Then the tiered rates nudged up, summers got longer, and outdoor budgets tightened. Now it's $85 in July before the power bill arrives. She times laundry for off-peak hours, showers her kids at the gym on soccer nights, and stares at the red line on the usage graph like it's a grade she has to fix. Water became a second rent, non-negotiable, rising, and not something you can skip for a week. 3 miles away, Carl manages a fourplex with a thin margin. His city banned non-functional turf, and his HOA still insists on green frontage. He rips out grass to avoid fines, installs drip and swaps to desert plants. Then the HOA cites him for neighborhood character. He goes to the meeting with receipts. They go home to sprinklers set for dawn. The city's code and the HOA's rulebook fight in his front yard. and the bill lands on his ledger. In Henderson, a landscaper named Yvette has to explain new rules to clients who just moved from Ohio. They love palms, emerald lawns, and Saturday sprinklers. She pulls up the app that shows evapotranspiration forecasts and watering restrictions. "You'll lose this turf," she says, "or you'll pay for it every month." Half nod, half insist. A season later, she's back to replace fried sod with gravel and a few hardy shrubs. Her crew survives on the churn that Scarcity created: rip out, rebate, replant, while residents learn by invoice. Farmers weigh different math. Outside Casa Grande, Armando has a mortgage on a pivot and a son in college. CAP cuts sent less water to his ditch, so the choice is drip or fallow. He invests in drip with a low-interest program, cuts his total water use, and squeezes one more ton from the field. But the pump runs longer to lift deeper groundwater, and the power bill eats the savings. When the city offers to lease his water 1 year out of 3, a check arrives that steadies the books, and the packing shed in town cuts shifts because crops dropped. Water moved uphill, jobs drifted away. Workers feel it in heat, not policy. In Salt Lake's west side, Eddie runs deliveries for a warehouse that missed its loading dock to keep crews from tapping out in August. The mist is a thin comfort. He buys extra bottles from a gas station that jacked prices during a heat spike, then hears about a neighborhood main break that shut off taps for hours. The city trucked in water, but Eddie was on shift. He gets home, opens the faucet, and air sputters out. Hydration is a policy word until you can't pour a glass for your kid. Data center techs in the Front Range learn the new choreography. On red alert heat days, operations switch to dry cooling, power use jumps, and the water meters rest. On monsoon humidity days, the system flips to hybrid to protect chips, and the evaporation rises. Sarah, an operator, can't say what the monthly draw is because it's wrapped in the park's utility account. She knows the alarms: tower blowdown elevated. She also knows her neighbors went from 60 feet to 95 in 4 years, and they're pooling money for a deeper pump. Here's a micro story. An exurban subdivision outside Boise drilled domestic wells to 180 feet and celebrated independence. The first summer felt fine. The third summer, the construction phase ended, and 20 more houses tapped in. By August, sprinklers coughed. One homeowner, Darius, woke to a dry shower. The HOA hired a truck to fill the small community tank at dawn and dusk. Diesel, overtime, and bulk water fees turned into a $300 monthly assessment. Independence became a convoy. Shutoffs shift behavior fast. In parts of the Central Valley, households on income-based plans still face late fees that stack. Miss 2 payments and the orange tag appears. Miss 3 and a shutoff notice lands. Parents fill coolers at a church drive, bathe toddlers with wipes, and pray the next paycheck clears before the door hanger returns. Cities hate wielding the wrench. They also have bond covenants and payrolls. Charities bridge gaps, but summer adds gaps no spreadsheet saw coming. Meanwhile, a small-town council fights over a golf course. The course leases treated effluent, a civic pride play in the 90s. Now the plant wants that water for industrial cooling and parks. The course argues tourism. The plant argues heat and power. Residents fill a meeting room with hats and signs. The decision splits neighbors who share fences and holidays, and a ballot measure sprouts from a drought. This is where culture bends. HOAs rewrite covenants and swap lush for shade. Cities approve greywater plumbing in new builds. Landscapers become water coaches. Schoolyards trade grass for shade sails and cooling stations. Farmers sign rotational fallowing deals with cities and keep the packing shed alive 2 years out of 3. Utilities carve out lifeline indoor rates and price outdoor use steeply, so water stays affordable for life, not for lawns. Dignity runs through each fix. No one wants a lecture with a shutoff. They want time, tools, and a path that doesn't humiliate. When water becomes a second rent, the policies that work look like this: protect a humane indoor baseline, make outdoor luxury pay its own way, and fund the bridge for those caught between old rules and new bills. Choices get real when the tap is a bill you can't pay. The next chapter asks how to design for that reality without turning neighbors into adversaries. Designing within limits, a different West. If the math points toward less, the design has to point toward smarter. Start with form. The cheapest gallon is the one you don't have to pump across 10 miles of hot pavement. Compact growth near existing mains shortens every run. Less friction loss, fewer booster stations, faster leak response, and smaller peak loads at dusk when sprinklers usually roar. Zoning that stacks housing over services means one pressure zone can serve thousands without a maze of extensions. Cities can steer this with impact fees that climb sharply beyond the core, and with by right approvals for infill that shave years off building timelines. Kill exurban sprawl with alternatives, not admonitions. Permit missing middle housing in established neighborhoods so families don't have to jump the fence line to find space. Swap minimum parking for maximums. Every acre of asphalt is a heat engine and a runoff problem. Let corner lots host duplexes and triplexes that share a single lateral. Tie approvals to demonstrated wet water, not paper plans, proof that supply exists without mining the aquifer for 20 years and walking away. When homebuilders complain, pair streamlining with certainty, clear rules, fast permits inside the footprint, and real costs outside it. Now cool the city without sprinklers. Cool roofs reflect solar load, lowering indoor temperatures and easing the grid. Shade canopies over sidewalks and bus stops change behavior. People walk, wait, and linger without misting stations. Reflective streets lower nighttime temperatures, cutting pipe fatigue and leak rates. Plant the right trees in the right places with basins that catch roof runoff, and commit to establishment watering with smart controllers. A tree that reaches maturity pays back for decades in evaporative cooling and storm interception, even in a desert. Tie public shade plans to transit corridors and schools first. Heat relief, where bodies are most vulnerable. Outdoor demand is culture, code, and price. Ban non-functional turf and mean it. Allow small water features only with on-site recirculation and covers. Require soil amendments and deep mulch under any new landscape to lock in moisture. Mandate weather-based irrigation controllers on every new meter and retrofit them in phases across existing stock with rebate and enforce programs. Price outdoor use on a steep block tariff above a protected indoor lifeline so households feel each marginal gallon where it matters, at the spigot, not on a poster. Publish neighborhood water dashboards so social cues nudge behavior before citations do. On farms designed for flexibility, not fantasy. Pay for fallowing with dignity, multi-year contracts that cover fixed costs, not just a seasoned seed. Support crop switching where markets and soils allow. Less alfalfa for export, more drought-fit rotations that keep local jobs. Invest in on-farm efficiency with real technical help, not just coupons, drip, soil moisture sensors, canopy management, but pair it with salinity support because salts rise when flows fall. Build compensated, interruptible supply programs that let cities rent water in dry years rather than buy rights outright, so valleys keep their backbone and can plan around predictable pauses. Managed aquifer recharge belongs in the toolkit, but only where geology says yes. Map permeable alluvium, test injection zones, and design basins that can handle monsoon bursts without clogging. Couple recharge with flood control. Spread flows onto dedicated fields that double as parks most of the year. Use advanced purification to feed injection wells when river flows are low and treatment plants have surplus capacity. And be honest, deep basin fill aquifers won't refill at the rate we pump them. Treat recharge as a local savings account, not a bailout for fossil water. Water markets need guardrails. Protect conserved water so rights holders aren't punished for using less. Create transparent exchanges that allow short-term transfers with clear public benefits and strict monitoring. Build third-party impact funds into every deal so rural schools, ditches, and small towns aren't collateral damage. Reserve a base right for ecosystems, actual flow targets with enforcement, because dead rivers cost money in dust, tourism losses, and treatment, and because living streams stitch communities to place. Tribal water rights must move from recognition to pipes. Fund the infrastructure, intakes, treatment, conveyance that lets tribes exercise senior rights, lease on their terms, and invest in local economies. Those leases can stabilize regional portfolios without permanent dispossession. Government-to-government deals can set a standard. Revenue to communities long excluded, reliability to cities living on the edge, and restored flows to reaches that teach kids what a river looks like. Integrate energy with water scheduling. Run big pumps when the grid has solar surplus. Pair lift stations with on-site storage and batteries to ride through peak hours and outages. Cover canals with solar where maintenance pencils out. Shade reduces evaporation and feeds the pumps below. Modernize SCADA to predict leaks before they break and to nudge pressure zones down a notch without risking fire flows. Every kilowatt saved on pumping returns as headroom for heat waves. Codes should hardwire resilience, require grey-water-ready plumbing in new construction, and offer rebates for retrofits that route showers and laundry to landscape basins. Pre-plumb for dual systems where reclaimed water is available so parks, schools, and industry can switch without ripping streets open later. Standardize meter data access so residents and businesses can track use in real time and catch leaks before bills explode.